Hi, everyone. Carl Steinbeck here, covering the Kouri Richins sentencing for this afternoon and this morning. And this was in Utah. She finally was getting sentenced for her conviction of first-degree murder, among other things, against her husband, who they shared together 3 young boys. And such a sad, sad day to see this happen, to reflect on what could have been a situation that did not result to murder, but like so many cases that we see nowadays, people just don't have any sense about them, no common sense whatsoever, and they think they can get away with this stuff. So it was an extremely calculating and long drawn out process where she decided the best option for her financially, a financial decision, was to exterminate her husband. And today was his 44th birthday. If he was alive, he would have been celebrating 44th birthday with his sons and family members. And but yet he was poisoned to death. And so this is what instead is happening, is that the family has to come to court for sentencing here in front of this judge who's been very fair and judicious this whole time. And we have here what I'm going to do is cover the main parts of this thing. I did not see all of it today earlier. I just heard bits and pieces as I was out and about. So some of this I'm hearing from the first time, but I'm going to cover the highlights here, the main folks that made statements before the court. And to me, I think it was, without a doubt, this case just called for a life sentence without parole. What Kouri was fighting for was 25 to life. But based on the calculating nature of her actions, there's so many things that came out in this trial of how calculatingly evil and desperate she was, that it really was scary. I don't think I've ever seen a defendant so calculating and so vicious and cruel to young children. So, yes, here we go now. This is Gene Richins. This is the father of
Good morning.
Please take your time.
Thank you. Your Honor, my name is Gene Richins. I'm Eric's father. No parent should ever have to bury their child. It's a loss that changes you forever. Eric was taken from us way too soon, and his loss has left a permanent hole in our family that will never be filled, ever. Eric was first and foremost an incredible father. To his 3 boys, Carter, Ashton, and Wes, his sons were his world, and he was theirs also. They didn't just see him as a dad, they saw him as their best friend, their coach, their mentor, their protector. He was present in every part of their lives. Whether it was soccer, baseball, basketball, or any activity that they were involved in. Eric was there coaching, encouraging, and supporting not only his own boys, but every child on the team. Eric didn't just coach sports. He built confidence. He built character and friendships. He gave his time freely because he cared deeply about helping young people grow into strong, kind, and capable individuals. The impact Eric had on these children and families continues even now. On the soccer team that he coached, before every game, the players gathered and called out a cheer. For many teams, it might be something ordinary. But for Eric's team, even 4 years after his death, they still break the huddle with the words, 1, 2, 3, Eric. That simple cheer speaks volumes about a man he was and the lasting imprint that he left upon young lives in this community. He was a light to his sons, to the boys he coached, and to our entire community. A light that was taken far too soon. Eric was only 39 years old. As his father, I miss him every day. I miss our conversations. I miss watching him grow into a man I was so proud of. One of the greatest joys of my life was seeing the kind of father he had become. Eric was patient, loving, dedicated, and fully present in his boys' lives. Watching him raise his sons with such care and devotion was incredibly meaningful to me. Eric was also an amazing brother to 2 sisters, a loving uncle, nephew, cousin, and loyal friend. He was a trusted business partner, a valued colleague, and a respected member of our community. He was generous with his time, his energy, and kindness. He treated people with respect, showed gratitude even for the smallest acts of kindness, and gave freely of himself because that's simply who he was. He worked hard to provide a beautiful life for his family. He gave them a home many would consider a dream. He ensured their needs were met, supported them, cared for them, and treated his wife with love every day. Yet despite everything he gave, his life was taken from him, not by a stranger, but by a person he should have been able to trust the very most in his life. He was betrayed in the most imaginable way possible. His life was taken through calculated, intentional actions.
Look at the facial expressions here of Kouri. I mean, it's just, I don't know if you can see somebody more contemptible towards the system than her. Check this out. This Court TV logo is sort of blocking her face, but look at her eyes here.
He was betrayed in the most imaginable way possible. His life was taken through calculated, intentional actions motivated by the greed, control, and desire.
Like disdain and contempt and like mockery. She's basically mocking this poor father that lost his son.
For a different life with someone else. Eric's boys lost a father. I lost my son. His sisters lost their brother. Our family lost a man who represented the very best of what a person can be. The ripple effects of this loss extend far beyond our immediate family. His friends lost someone they trusted and admired. The children he coached lost a mentor, a role model. Our community lost someone who genuinely cared and gave back without expecting anything in return. Eric will never see his boys graduate, get married, or become fathers themselves. He will never again stand on the sidelines cheering them on. He will never offer guidance, encouragement, or love in any way that only a father can. That opportunity was stolen from him and from all of us. Because of the calculated and intentional nature of this crime, I respectfully ask the court to impose a sentence of life without the possibility of parole. This sentence is important to Eric's 3 sons. Never have to live with the fear that the person responsible for taking their father could ever harm them again, and to ensure she can never harm anyone else ever again. Despite our immense grief, I want to acknowledge and thank those who have worked tirelessly to bring justice for my son. Eric was always grateful for others, showed kindness and dedication, and I know he would want to express sincere appreciation to those who gave their time, effort, and professionalism to seek the truth in this case. We are deeply thankful to the prosecution team, Margaret, Brad, Lindsay, Fred, Joe, Wendy, Patricia, and the entire staff who supported them for their commitment and their perseverance. We also want to recognize and thank Todd for his dedication and relentless efforts in helping us ensure justice has been served. We are also grateful to Grace Wardis for serving as a spokesperson and an advocate for our family throughout this process.
Does she look like she has any concern, any regard for what Jean's gone through? Any emotional pain? Do you sense her having any emotional pain for this sweet gentleman having to go through this, losing his son that he just adored, that he just was so proud of? And she wanted him exterminated for financial gain. So you can just see it. You can just see it by her body reaction. It says it all.
We thank the Summit County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Hemingway, Detective O'Driscoll, Detective Hopper, Officer Woody, Officer Gibson, and all the law enforcement personnel who worked on this investigation. We thank the bailiffs who ensured the safety and the order of this courtroom. We thank you, Your Honor, for your patience, professionalism, and stewardship of this process. We extend our heartfelt gratitude to each juror, including the alternates, for their sacrifice and their time, for seriously taking the responsibility, who carried out to ensure justice was served. Nothing can bring Eric back. Nothing can restore what has been taken from his sons, from our family, and from this community. But accountability matters here. Justice matters. Eric mattered. His life, his love mattered. His example mattered. He will always be remembered as a devoted father, a loving son, a supportive brother, a loyal friend, and a man who made lives of those around him better. We miss him every day and will continue to honor his memory by living with the same kindness and dedication that he showed to everyone fortunate enough to know him. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Eric really did have an amazing positive impact on his dad, his sisters, brother-in-law, those around him, and especially three young boys. Wonderful father. Where have we heard that before? This here's Katie.
So as you know, I'm Katie, and I'm Eric's sister. To begin, there are a multitude of people who deserve credit and appreciation. Law enforcement agencies across the state of Utah, the Summit County Prosecutor's Office, the Medical Examiner's Office, expert witnesses who worked hand in hand with law enforcement, Eric's friends, Eric's coworkers, my friends, my family, our entire team of lawyers and experts in the civil lawsuit. There are far too many people to mention by name, and I suspect if I try to, I will inadvertently leave someone out. But to all of you, please know that this would not be possible without your efforts, your support, and the strength of the community that has stood beside us. Both my family and I are forever grateful to each of you. I am also very grateful to you, Your Honor, to this court for the dignified manner in which it presided over the trial, and to the members of the jury for faithfully performing their civic duties. Today is Eric's birthday. I stand before you because he can't.
Check that out. Stone cold, heartless reaction there by Kouri. Let me back that up.
Manner in which it presided over the trial, and to the members of the jury for faithfully performing their civic duties. Today is Eric's birthday.
Not even a blink, no teary-eyed, nothing can get to her to make her feel the emotional pain that the Richins are going through. And that alone is something, if I'm a judge up on the bench, I'm taking that in consideration. I'm looking at the person, but that's speaking on sentencing. What I'm really looking for is what is the reaction of the defendant? What are attorneys doing? Or attorneys are just sitting there, and we see some different angles later, but they should be kicking her under the table if they notice anything. I'd be monitoring somebody like her, and I'd definitely be telling her ahead of time, you cannot have any facial expressions showing any kind of disapproval of what they're saying. You have to suppress your emotions if it's anything negative against any of the victim impact statements that we hear from the prosecution side. So don't know if they did that, but we can see that it's just not a good look. So this is a good camera angle we have here for Court TV, where we can see the person making the statement, and then we can also see Kouri there.
I stand before you because he can't. He was taken away from my dad, my sister, his nieces, his friends, our community, and worst of all, from his 3 amazing sons. Sorry. He was taken away from us by a person he should have been able to trust, the person he should have trusted most in the world, his wife. It's impossible to fully describe how devastating Eric's death and Kouri's crimes have been to our family. Nearly every aspect of our lives has been permanently changed, and we have no choice but to live with those changes and with Eric's loss forever. Eric was a phenomenal brother, father, son, nephew, grandson, cousin, friend, and businessman. Eric and I were extremely close. We went through school together and navigated life side by side. Wherever Eric went, I was usually tagging along right behind. In school, Eric's nickname was Richie, and mine was Little Richie, a reflection on how inseparable we were. He wasn't just my brother. He was my constant, my protector, and one of my closest friends. Eric was the kind of father who anticipated his children's needs before they ever had to ask. He made sure they were always having fun, taught them how to be respectful and kind, and was constantly planning for their future. His mind and heart was always on his boys, always. Everything he did was for them. Eric was the very best uncle. He made his nieces, my daughters, feel truly special. He always found ways to have fun with them. He doted on them with love and attention. Eric was an incredible son, always there for my parents, stepping in without hesitation and helping in every way he could, without being asked. The bond he shared with my mom was truly special. We would often joke that the umbilical cord had never really been cut, but in truth, it spoke to the deep, unbreakable love they had for each other. This is who Eric truly was, a man defined by love, integrity, and unwavering devotion to his family. He is none of the things that Kouri tried to portray him as. Those mischaracterizations were nothing more than a vile effort to deflect blame. And those mischaracterizations stand in stark contrast to the reality of the man we all knew and loved. Eric's life and his actions and the profound impact he had on those around him speak for themselves. And they tell a story of goodness, strength, and character that cannot be rewritten or diminished. The saddest part for me in all of this is that I got something with Eric that his sons never did: time. I feel cheated that I only got to spend a few decades with my brother, but I should feel lucky in comparison.
Yeah, Ray Ann, you make a point. If you were really innocent, you'd be crying over the death of your husband, and you'd be adamantly stating your innocence. So you'd be having two things to be crying over: the fact that you're facing 30-some years behind bars at a minimum, if not the rest of your life, and you're innocent over this thing. So you not only lost your husband, you lost your 3 boys now, and now you're going to lose your freedom and be locked up in a prison with dangerous people. And so you've had all this against you, and yet you're innocent. And so she'd be boo-hooing it big time. But what does she have? Nothing. So I can tell you that from my experience, this is what happens when somebody knows that the jury did the right thing and they're not really innocent. they don't they don't act they don't act a certain way. They act this way, and it's like she's cold. She's cold to the trauma. Otherwise, she'd be crying as much or more so than his family, because the family they're facing the loss of their loving brother or son or their dad. But you know what they don't have is they're not being locked up the rest of their lives to be able to have to deal with this pain. So that's a second kind of pain. But for her, it doesn't seem to be that big a deal, does it? All right, let's continue here.
As Eric's eldest son told me shortly after his dad's death, he and his brothers did not even get 10 years with their dad. It is devastating that Eric is not here to coach them, to work the family ranch with them, to teach them how to drive, to attend their high school graduation, to send them off to college, to see them get married, or to celebrate the birth of his future grandchildren. His 3 sons are going to grow up and live nearly their entire lives without their dad. They're going to get to know their dad more from the stories we tell about them than their actual experiences. In all likelihood, by the time they are each 44 years old, which is how old Eric would be today, they will have little to no actual memories of Eric. And they have to go through life without their dad because their mother planned and carried out his murder. She could not have done anything more selfish or more cruel to those boys. In the place of a stable, secure, and loving home, Kouri gave the boys permanent trauma. They were in the house the night she killed their father. They were awake. They knew that something terrible had happened to their dad. As we heard on the 911 call during trial, one of them even walked into Eric's bedroom, where Eric's body lay dead, poisoned by someone who his son should have been able to unconditionally trust, love, and depend on. No child should have to bear that trauma. But Eric's 3 innocent sons will bear that burden, and they will bear it for the rest of their lives. Kouri's selfishness and cruelty did not end with Eric's murder. In the time after Eric's death, Kouri has done nothing but isolate, manipulate, deceive, and do harm to those boys. Almost immediately after Eric died, she cut them off completely from our family, from Eric's family. The isolation was calculated and strategic. Kouri used the boys as bargaining chips with my dad. She repeatedly threatened not to let him see his grandsons unless he could convince me, as Eric's trustee, of his trust to capitulate.
As you know, as a lawyer, it's like, are you telling her to knock it off? Didn't you tell her that ahead of time, Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor? So that's not a good look for you. The judge noticed that right there.
To her legal demands and give her all the trust assets. While isolating the boys,
look at that.
Kouri provided them with false and harmful information.
Yeah, that's what you're trying to do. You even sued her. She was the trustee acting on the benefit of the trust that Eric had set up, and you were trying to pillage that thing and get all the money out of it. So now you're going to try to deny it. This is so cringy. I mean, I'm just telling you, as a defense counsel, this is like, you don't want your client doing this. It's such a bad look. If you had any shot of getting a life without parole, this kind of stuff here just makes the judge go, no, I can't do that. Somebody's got this kind of an attitude. So let's watch this here again. Look at that. Let me back it up.
Trust, love, and depend on. No child should have to bear that trauma. But Eric's 3 innocent sons will bear that burden, and they will bear it for the rest of their lives. Kouri's selfishness and cruelty did not end with Eric's murder. In the time after Eric's death, Kouri has done nothing but isolate, manipulate, deceive, and do harm to those boys. Almost immediately after Eric died, she cut them off completely from our family, from Eric's family. The isolation was calculated and strategic. Kouri used the
lawyer's even talking to her during this. I mean, that's just you're talking about a murder victim's family making a statement, and you're gonna sit there and not let her finish. You're going to be whispering to each other. It's just not good.
Boys is bargaining chips with my dad. She repeatedly threatened not to let him see his grandsons.
That's wrong. This is wrong for an attorney to do this. It's unprofessional. If I was a judge, I'd be lighting them up right now. Okay. That's what I'd be doing. Look at that face. Yeah, I'd be commenting on your face there, Kouri. But you know what? Let it go on, because we can really see, like some of the comments are saying, we can see really the real Kouri still coming through this. So that's the one thing about this happening. But at the same time, it's sort of like on the other hand, it's like you're disrespecting the victim, so you want to shut it down right away. So those are the two competing thoughts.
Unless he could convince me, as Eric's trustee of his trust, to capitulate to her legal demands and give her all the trust assets. While isolating the boys,
Look at her laughing.
Kouri provided them with.
Yeah, you were. That's what you were doing. And look you're telling me Lewis doesn't get it, that you're making this big turn of your face and big smile and laughing. It's so odd. The audacity of her making up something so frivolous and whatnot. So, boy, it's just helping her secure her life without parole. So let's see what happens after this.
False and harmful information about me and my family.
Okay, now she's turning around, putting her head down. The attorney's trying to cover it up with her mouth, but she's talking to her. That's rude, unprofessional. Many courts, you'd get called out, counsel.
DCFS took custody of the boys following Kouri's arrest and asked where they would like to go to express fear of my family. The fear was not based on reality.
You need to shut your mouth there, defendant, or you'll be taken out of the courtroom. Just sort of like Judge Everett. He told the jury to step out, and he admonished Donna Adelson when she's throwing little fits and stuff like that in front of the jury. Now, it's not as sensitive of a thing when you don't have the jury there and it's just in front of a judge. But this is in front of the guy who's going to decide whether you get out in 30 years or you never get out. And this is what you're going to do.
But on what they had been told. For over a year, Kouri led them to believe that I hated them, that I was attempting to take Eric's money for myself, and that I intended for them.
Shaking your head and all that. We already heard this at trial. Okay, the jury doesn't believe you, Kouri. So keep shaking your head, disgust and contempt. See where it gets you.
To be left without support, that they would be homeless and starving. These statements were entirely false and had no basis in reality. Had they not been subjected to that.
Now, she never testified, but keep in mind, this is what her attorneys are trying to bring out, right? They're trying to make her out to be the bad person.
They would have known the truth. Prior to Eric's death, our families were very close. My daughters and his sons had strong friendships, and I had a meaningful individual relationship with each of my nephews. I spent time riding horses with one, helping another identify summer coding programs, and the youngest participated in ice skating lessons with my daughters. Our families shared holidays, worked together on our family ranch, took trips together, and I was present the day each of the boys were born in the hospital. The boys have expressed their confusion about these circumstances. They have stated that prior to their father's passing, both Eric and Kouri frequently told them if anything were to happen, they should go with me, that I would care for them and support them. Following Eric's death, however, those messages changed. After Eric passed away, Kouri prevented all contact between our family and the boys. She prohibited communication and continued to provide them of false information about us.
Oh, look at her turning back, raising her eyebrows, like, oh yeah, right. Like you weren't denied any access. You're making this all up, Katie. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't think so. The judge isn't going to buy it. Okay, Patricia, you're saying I think her lawyer told her stop. Her attorney isn't stupid. No, you know what? You would not talk in turn. If my attorney, if my client was acting that way and I was Kouri's attorney, I'd be like kicking her under the table. Okay, I'd be kicking her under. I would tell her ahead of time, you do not say anything. All right, and you're not going to make any expressions. If you think I'm going to turn and talk to you and do like this, no, that's not happening. So This is not good. This is not good lawyering here, in my opinion.
When we were finally able to see the boys again, approximately 15 months after Eric's death, the boys hardly recognized the relationship we had. Instead, they viewed my family and me with fear and hesitation, as though we were strangers. Kouri also went to great lengths to jeopardize the boys' financial futures. I know you are very aware of this. Among other things, she drained the personal bank accounts that Eric had set up for his boys as college funds. She allowed the boys' Social Security survivor benefits to be funneled to individuals who were not taking care of the boys. And she sued me in my role as Eric's trustee and personal representative, not once, not twice, but 3 separate times.
3 times.
The goal of her lawsuits is singular. She wants all of Eric's assets
Look at
for
that.
herself. Despite her lies and fanciful public portrayal, she knows that none of Eric's
All that's true, Kouri. And look at you. You can't face the truth. You're just shaking your head and making a mockery of this courtroom. Okay? You're making a mockery of it. That's the kind of self-centered, all about me kind of attitude. So it truly is psychopathic. Okay?
assets are going to me, my dad, or my sister. In fact, she knows exactly where Eric wanted everything to go, and that is to his boys. And yet, for 4 years, she has aggressively tried to take their inheritance from them. Even now, despite erroneous debt, a murder conviction, and a string of pending felony financial charges, Kouri's civil lawsuits live on. Those lawsuits have been emotionally grueling, all-consuming, and unimaginably expensive. And tragically, every dollar on those suits is a dollar that Eric's boys will not get.
Yep, she just ran up them bills, trying to go for all that money that she had no right to get. And she was doing what was in the best interest of the children, not in Kouri's best interest. That's what she was supposed to do as trustee. Obviously, Kouri would be benefiting financially because the kids were going to get money that would be flowed through Kouri to support them. So, but Kouri wanted it completely all at once without having any kind of control of anyone else and portioning it out in a reasonable manner. Kouri wanted it all. You think she would have used that on the boys, or do you think she would have used that to help fund her mansion on the swamp?
Of course, Kouri can't have other people or the public thinking that she's trying to take away her children's inheritance. So for the past 4 years, both in court and in the media, she has demonized and vilified me. She has hurled wild accusations in my direction, including that I hacked her bank accounts, forged her bank statements, paid off witnesses, unduly pressured law enforcement into investigating her, and quietly pulled the Summit County prosecutor strings. It is despicable that for doing nothing more than trying to honor Eric's wishes, Kouri has cast me as the evildoer here. Just as bad, honoring Eric's wishes has landed my sister and myself, and unbelievably, my 2 daughters in Kouri's crosshairs. One of Eric's sons recently told me that Kouri used to say, "I will get them one day." Apparently, she was talking about me, my sister, and my daughters. Her infamous walk the dog letter, the part the jury did not hear, confirms her desire to harm me. In it, she talks at length about her plans to get at Amy and me, including by targeting my daughters, both of whom are under the age of 10. It takes a sick mind to target children. The mere thought that someone who has so little regard for human life or decency might one day walk free is horrifying.
That sums it up right there. I totally agree with you, Katie, on this point. Wow. She has no regard for human life, including her own children. I really think there's nothing she wouldn't do to make a huge financial gain like that mansion on the swamp, including exterminating your own children if you put them on a life insurance policy. I put nothing past her.
I worry about the safety of Eric's boys, my daughters, my sister, and myself. There is nothing Kouri will not do, and no one she will not hurt to achieve her own selfish ends.
That's just not emotion talking there. I think it is so clear how extremely calculating you in there in the chartreuse outfit. Yes, that's you making those weird facial expressions and talking to your lawyer. Yeah, sick and scary. I agree, Granny Debbie. Yeah, they wanted a permanent restraining order. They know she can get out and she'll come after him. She's not going to get mellow with age. She's going to come up with more ways if she ever gets out to finish off as many Richins as she can.
I am not the only one that is afraid. There are 3 little boys who, instead of fearing those who love and adore them, as Kouri would prefer, worry constantly that Kouri might show up one day and take them away. Eric's sons deserve so much better. They are not bargaining chips. They are not cash cows. They are not props for some twisted children's book about grief and loss. And yet,
yeah, that's a great thing to bring up. I was thinking about that earlier today. That she doesn't have anything authentic in the way she comes across. Nothing sincere. There's no true love or emotion you ever come across, and she is so much though has a presence of mind to think, gosh, how can I make money off my grieving children? So she's going to come up with a grieving book, but she has somebody else ghostwrite it for her. And then she claims that she wrote it. She even lied to people closest to her and said that she's the one that wrote it. And when that's a complete lie. And so that was brought out at trial that she had a ghostwriter for it. So that's the extreme amount of calculations she will do. And how, when you think about how resourceful she is to come up with money, it's pretty phenomenal. I mean, she is extremely resourceful. The problem is she's using it for evil means, and it finally caught up with her.
that is what they've been reduced to by Kouri. To my unending sadness and horror, Eric himself understood all too well the danger she posed to his children and to his family. When Eric told me he had changed his estate planning and appointed me as his trustee and personal representative, I begged him to end the marriage and go his separate way. By that point, he had already consulted with a divorce attorney and was deeply afraid that he might not be awarded sole custody of his children. He made the heartbreaking decision to stay because he could not accept the risk of what might happen to his sons if Kouri had equal custody. He told me he would live his life through hell every single day of his life until his youngest was 18, because he believed Kouri was the most evil person he had ever met.
Wow.
He knew that.
Wow, this is so spot on, so traumatic to hear. Look at her. Yep. It's all true, and you know it, Kouri. So think about that. He made a decision. His sister's begging him to divorce her, and he was worried that he would not win custody over stuff she had done. Was he okay with 50-50, or was he worried about was he wanting 100%? So most states are going to go 50-50. They're not going to go 100% unless there's something really abusive about the other parent. So was he worried about not being able to get 100% and her only giving visitation every other weekend and one Wednesday night, overnight kind of thing every other week? But this really sums it up here. This is what he really thought of his wife.
His separate way. By that point, he had already consulted with a divorce attorney for my sister and myself. There is nothing Kouri will not do, and no one she will not hurt to achieve her own selfish ends. I am not the only one that is afraid. There are 3 little boys who, instead of fearing those who love and adore them, as Kouri would prefer, worried constantly, that Kouri might show up one day and take them away. Eric's sons deserve so much better. They are not bargaining chips. They are not cash cows. They are not props for some twisted children's book about grief and loss.
Yeah.
And yet that is what they've been reduced to by Kouri. To my unending sadness and horror, Eric himself understood all too well the danger she posed to his children and to his family. When Eric told me he had changed his estate planning and appointed me as his trustee and personal representative, I begged him to end the marriage and go his separate way. By that point, he had already consulted with a divorce attorney and was deeply afraid that he might not be awarded sole custody of his children. He made the heartbreaking decision to stay because he could not accept the risk of what might happen to his sons if Kouri had equal custody.
Wow. Well, I wish you would have talked to more lawyers, because maybe you talked to a lawyer that wasn't very skilled in family law and was just give him a lot of the, well, it's, the courts are going to favor the wife and the mother of the children, all this kind of stuff. So who knows, but that could have saved his life. We don't know, but just think of the mental torment he was in. Like he was admitting he was going to be in that the rest of his life until the youngest was 18.
He told me he would live his life through hell every single day of his life until his youngest was 18, because he believed Kouri was the most evil person he had ever met.
Yeah.
He knew that his sons did not like her.
Yeah, that's you, Kouri. Face it. He nailed it right there.
He told me as much many times. He knew that they would prefer to be far away from her, but he also knew that divorce carried significant risks. And he said he could never allow his children to spend half of their time alone with her, because he was certain they would be exposed to harm and things no child should ever experience. He made it clear that in his mind, if Kouri were given equal custody, his
Okay, now she's explaining that. Good. Here we go. I did not see this before.
children would be in the care of someone he believed to be deeply dangerous.
Wow, he had this nailed down perfectly. He figured it out. I'm just surprised he just. Oh man. Can you imagine that? You can't even trust anything your wife gives you to eat because it could be poisoned.
Feared the people they could be exposed to and the damage that could be done. At the same time, he spoke with deep love and admiration for his boys. He told me that they were the most amazing boys in the world, and that none of this was their choice and none of it was their fault, and that he would do everything in his power to protect them for as long as he possibly could. Kouri loves to go on and on about how this case is a media sensation. She's right. News outlets from here to Europe have covered it. There have been countless newspaper articles, podcasts, and TV specials about it. Every hearing is live streamed on numerous YouTube channels. Every filing is scrutinized by internet lawyers and true crime junkies. There is no question that this case is famous and that Kouri is now famous. But what Kouri never mentions in talking about her fame and notoriety are the reasons why this case is now famous. It is famous for how appalling and sickening it is. It is famous because a mother meticulously planned to kill her husband, killed him while their children were sleeping in the next room, and then had the audacity to hold herself out as the author of a children's book about grief and loss. It is famous because she spent time Googling luxury prisons for the rich in America. It is famous because from her jail cell, she scripted a bunch of phony testimony so that her brother could perpetrate a fraud on the court. It is famous because she victimized her own children and threatened to victimize Eric's nieces. The fame and attention are directly proportional to the evil that has gone on here. This is
Right.
not a situation where the idea of rehabilitation should be entertained. In taking Eric's life for her own selfish gain, Kouri did not only harm Eric, she permanently harmed 3 kids who were under the age of 10. She took away a dad, a son, a brother, an uncle, a grandson, a nephew, a cousin, and a friend. Eric's death has caused immeasurable pain to so many.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. It's just like whatever. Who cares? I hate them all. Avery was last one of them. That's her attitude.
Obviously, there's nothing the court can do about that. And you cannot bring him back. But what you can do is give Kouri's victims at least some measure of closure. To that end, I ask that the court impose a sentence that ensures Kouri never has the opportunity to harm Eric's children or our family again. Please do not let my brother's life be worth nothing more than a 25-year punishment. Please do not leave those boys to wonder whether Kouri might track them or their children down in the future. Please do not create a possibility for Kouri to endanger Eric's boys, my daughters, my family, or anyone else ever again. Please sentence Kouri to a life in prison without the possibility of parole. Thank you.
Thank you, Katie.
Wow, that is like so gut wrenching to hear all that, and you feel so sorry for what she's had to go through. She was so close with her brother, and to have that person right there in the chartreuse jail suit just be so evil, sitting right there, feet away from you. It's got to be really hard for her. And yeah, I think that was that really helped seal the deal. When you hear the 2 sisters of Eric testify, wow, it's scary. It's scary how evil this defendant is. You see her husband, Vincent, testifying.
All right, Clint.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Clint Benson. I am Katie's husband and Eric's brother-in-law. Eric was an innocent man, a devoted father, and someone whose life revolved around his children and his family. Because of Kouri's choices, he never had the opportunity to say goodbye to his children, to reassure them, to share the final moments every family deserves. That loss cannot be measured. His children will spend the rest of their lives carrying the pain of a father taken from them far too soon. What makes this tragedy even more painful is the calculated nature of the crime. This was not a momentary mistake, a lapse in judgment, or a crime of passion. It involved planning, preparation, testing, and deliberate action. Eric's death was carried out in a way that caused fear, suffering, and helplessness. Kouri either watched or sat by as Eric succumbed to fentanyl poisoning instead of providing any kind of aid to him. She was fantasizing about a dream life funded by Eric's death. Eric was killed in his home by a traitor sleeping next to him in one of the most cowardly acts imaginable. We are profoundly grateful to every investigator, prosecutor, detective, law enforcement officer, juror, judge, forensic expert, and public servant who worked tirelessly and honestly to uncover the truth. Their dedication ensured that Eric's voice was not lost and that justice could still prevail. We are equally grateful for the incredible community surrounding us. This community has shown unwavering support and has been there for Eric's boys without judgment and through some of the most difficult times imaginable. The boys are succeeding and thriving because of the people around them who continue to provide support and look out for their safety. Going through every aspect of this murder easily led to a dark place while fighting against an individual focused on only chaos and vengeance. However, the people surrounding us, including the sheriff's officers, principals, teachers, school staff, coaches, counselors, neighbors, and church members created an unbreakable force for what is good, just, and right. No sentence can bring Eric back. No outcome will erase the suffering caused by these actions. But accountability matters, truth matters, and justice matters. Kouri continues to shirk responsibility for her actions, for the pain she has caused, and for the resources she has squandered, both Eric's and the state's. Even after everything that has been revealed, Kouri has demonstrated zero genuine accountability or remorse for the devastation she has left behind. Instead, she has repeatedly attempted to distort the truth, create false narratives, and portray herself as the victim. She has used the legal system as part of her schemes. There has been lawsuit after lawsuit, motion after motion, delay after delay, all in an effort to shift blame away from the person responsible. The evidence, the truth, and the outcome of this case all tell a very different story. What is especially concerning is the continued hostility from Kouri and her family, as well as their desire for vengeance directed towards our family, a family already devastated by an unimaginable loss. Statements they have made about going to war and getting the Richins demonstrate an ongoing mindset rooted in blame, anger, and retaliation, rather than remorse or acceptance of responsibility. Kouri will continue to try to convince the public that she was a good mother through media outlets that choose not to research or report on the countless motions and facts presented in this case or other cases, but instead simply regurgitate the false narratives of a sick and evil person. Kouri and her family continue to plan media campaigns focused on lies, targeting anyone foolish enough to spend time listening to them. Kouri is not before this court because she was mistreated, because she's a victim, or because the Richins family manufactured a false narrative that she and the Darden family would like to portray. She is before this court because of the choices she has made, choices that resulted in Eric's death and permanent trauma to anyone who has loved him. Kouri chose pride, seeking to project an image of success. Kouri chose adultery and lust, prioritizing her secret lover over her husband and her children. Kouri chose fraud and greed, hoping to profit from Eric's death. Kouri chose murder, and she continues to choose vengeance against the victims of her actions. The time for Kouri to make choices is at an end. Now it is time for her victims to choose. Please let Eric's children have a chance to choose lifelong peace, comfort, security, success, and happiness. I ask this court to impose a sentence of life without parole, a sentence that truly reflects the gravity of this crime, the irreversible harm caused to our family, and the calculated choices that led to Eric's death. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Well said. Well said, Clint. All right, next we have Amy. This is for Amy.
Good morning. Honorable Judge Marasek, my name is Amy Richins. I am Eric Richins' sister. Today, I'm here to speak as a victim and to speak for Eric because he no longer has a voice. I addressed this court in 2023 when we were living in a state of visceral shock. Now, 3 years later, we are here at sentencing on a date that carries a weight I can barely describe. Today's Eric's 44th birthday. Birthdays are supposed to be proof of life, a day to celebrate another year of growth. Instead, today is a cruel reminder of another year Eric will never see, and a reminder of the fatherhood that was stolen from his 3 sons. Before I talk about what this crime has done, I need you to know who Eric was, not as a headline, but as a person.
Yes, Carol, the jury has been dismissed, so they can come in there and watch this just as a regular public member of the public. So the jury as a group is not coming in there, but they have the option if they want to watch this in person, or they can obviously watch it on live stream. But yeah, they're free to observe.
Over the course of this trial, so many people described Eric in strikingly similar ways. They called him outgoing, confident, funny, competitive, dependable, driven, and fiercely loyal. He was a leader, a hard worker, a rancher, a businessman, a coach, a best friend, a brother, a son. But more than anything, people described him as a phenomenal father. Eric had 3 sons and he coached many of their sports teams. He was the kind of dad who showed up not just for his own children, but for everyone around them. Sometimes I think about all the children who lost him too, the kids he coached, mentored, and believed in. I cannot imagine the confusion and heartbreak they felt when someone who had become such a steady and trusted part of their lives was suddenly gone. Eric was a real person, a deeply loved person, and the loss of him echoes through every life he touched. On my 16th birthday, I was sitting in my 10th grade English class when I got a text from Eric that said, "Come outside." I walked out and there was Eric, standing with flowers and that mischievous grin we all knew. I asked what he was doing there, and he just said, "Let's go. We've got to get a little mud on your tires." I had just bought my first truck, a used Ford F-150. Eric took me up into the mountains, and we took that truck off-roading for the first time. It was exhilarating and terrifying, but I felt safe because he was there. That was Eric. He made life bigger. He made people feel brave, and he protected the people he loved. That is the brother I lost, and that is the father his boys lost. In 2023, I told this court that I was tormented by the sequence of events of that night. Today, that torment has not faded. I still wonder when Eric realized he was in mortal danger. I wonder what Kouri said to him in his last moments. I'm still haunted by the question, did his boys hear their father's final struggle? If Eric had died of an illness, we would have cared for him. If it were an accident, there would have been kindness. But there is no comfort here. In his last moments, after being intentionally poisoned, my brother was faced with the ultimate betrayal. Eric's sons were 9, 7, and 5 when their world was shattered. They are now 13, 11, and 9.
There's no emotion. Talking about the boys here, there's zero emotion. This stone cold, heartless face there by Kouri.
These are the years when a boy learns how to be a man by watching his father. What makes this crime uniquely heinous is that their grief will never pass. It will reinvent itself at every milestone. This crime didn't just happen once. It happens every single morning when those boys wake up and realize their father is still gone. They did not just lose their father, they lost the life they knew. Eric's death didn't end the harm. It began a grinding process of re-traumatization. Early in this process, I remember being told this case would be a marathon, not a sprint. We did not understand how every hearing, filing, delay, and public narrative would reopen wounds all over again. As if losing Eric was not painful enough, our family was then forced to grieve under public scrutiny. After the publication of the grief book, our family became the subject of public narratives, attacks, and speculation. At one point, I received a message sent from a burner phone that said, "You think you're funny? Kouri will get the last laugh. Your jealousy is as disgusting as your family." Law enforcement later confirmed, through warrants, that the message came from Kouri.
Look at that.
That moment stayed with me because it captured what these years have felt
Look at over there at Wendy Lewis. Unbelievable.
like. Not
Laughing, smirking.
just grief, but intimidation and distortion. Yes, our family hired a private investigator, but when someone you love
Yeah, keep shaking her head. I just can't believe the judge is allowing this to go on.
dies suddenly and deep in your gut,
I'd have to pull the trigger if I was on the judge.
You believe something is terribly wrong. You do not stop searching for answers. The real
And that's why they hired the private investigator. They wanted to get to the bottom of this. They knew what was going on. Knowing that Eric knew that she's capable of the utmost evil, they had to do this in honor of their brother. I mean, who wouldn't?
question is not why would you investigate? The real question is what wouldn't you
Talking to
do?
her.
What wouldn't
Rude, flat out rude. Client smirking again. Wow. I can't recall this ever happening. Really, I cannot recall all the trials I've sat a part of and watched also that even one it wasn't a part of. I've never seen this kind of smirking at sentencing. I've seen a statement that was very contemptuous in another case that I'll mention right now, but for the defendant themselves to act this way when the victims are testifying, I guess Donna Adelson comes to mind. She acted bad too, but yeah, this is it's gone on way too much here.
you do for your brother, for the truth?
Because ultimately, what you're doing is respecting the victims by shutting this down. You're respecting victims, so that's why I think the judge should be lambasting this defense team over here.
I also feel compelled to address
Look at this. Oh man, that is so disrespectful to victims. Look, and the other victims in the family. Look at the other sister sitting directly in the line of sight there. We see Katie, who testified. She's getting to see this.
emotional
Don't do
toll
that.
of the trial itself. As the designated victim representative, and more importantly as Eric's sister, I have a right to be present in the courtroom. Yet during the proceedings, I was essentially kept in the dark. Due to the courtroom layout, I could not see the exhibits or the evidence. When we requested simple accommodation, we were told that the trial was being broadcast on court TV and I could excuse myself and watch from home with the rest of the world. Being told that my right to be here was interchangeable with a television broadcast was a profound violation. I did not want to watch Eric's life and death as content from my couch. I didn't want to go home after a grueling day and listen and watch it all over again. I had a right to be here, to face the evidence directly. Still, to this day, I have not been able to rewatch the trial because it's so time-consuming and painful to relive. I still have not seen all the evidence that was presented. Your Honor, I need to say this clearly. Someday, those boys will grow up and look back at the records of this trial. I need the truth to be the only thing they find.
Yeah, this comment here by Mymar. And do you remember the defense lawyer during the trial complained that the prosecutor's table was rolling their eyes? Wow, look at her and her lawyer, so unprofessional from them. Yeah, I agree. I remember that as well. So
The claims made against Eric's character were not just legal defenses, they were acts of secondary violence. Eric was a protector, not a predator. These lies were a desperate attempt to justify the unjustifiable, and they have added a layer of cruelty to our grief that is nearly impossible to bear. I also need to correct the record on a few misrepresentations. First, the prenup. It was provided well before the wedding, not in a last-minute way.
oh, look at that.
Second, the incident between Kouri and me. I never touched her. Kouri pled guilty to assaulting me.
Wow. Yeah, look, now she's looking at the judge.
Yet she and her circle have continued to spread false narratives. This is a pattern of distortion that has kept our family trapped in conflict. There is something that has haunted me for years. And I found out Katie was the exact same today. I begged Eric to leave too.
Oh man.
I begged him to divorce her,
Oh wow.
but Eric was trying to protect his boys. People often struggle to recognize intimate partner violence when the victim is a man. But Eric's actions spoke for themselves. He documented conversations. He tried to protect himself. He knew after Valentine's Day that she had tried to poison him, but he also believed that if he left, he could not fully protect his children. So he stayed because he was trying to keep them safe.
Wow.
This trauma has seeped into every corner of my life. And also, it has also deeply affected my own family and marriage. My husband, William, watched me be consumed by the pursuit of justice. For 4 years, we have lived in a constant state of stress, grief, and emotional exhaustion.
No
I
doubt.
lost my job as a professor at Montana Tech University on the very day I was subpoenaed to appear in this court.
That's cruel.
Eric was so proud of me earning my PhD, and teaching students was something I loved
Oh
that
wow.
made me proud. It now seems like another thing that Kouri's actions have taken away from me. But the most devastating loss.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry about that. Let me try to find my spot here.
Secondary violence.
This is a. Can you imagine knowing that Kouri's been out there denying visitation, doing all these things, fighting this state, just all about the money kind of stuff, just heartless towards kids visiting the Richins and all this stuff going on, just day after day after day, how this wears on the human soul. And they had to deal with all this. And then when she gets arrested, finally they get a chance to be able to see the kids. But then you're going through all this trial stuff as well. It's just, and having to sit through this. And then she can't even watch the trial in person because they got limited seating there. This is like, it's really messed up.
Eric was a protector, not a predator. These lies were a desperate attempt to justify the unjustifiable, and they have added a layer of cruelty to our grief that is nearly impossible to bear. I also need to correct the record on a few misrepresentations. First, the prenup. It was provided well before the wedding, not in a last-minute way.
Okay.
Second,
You know what?
The
Right there, I
incident-
can see and looking at it second time. Wendy Lewis, the attorney, she's actually talking to her. So that's a no-no. Okay. You don't do that as a defense attorney on a murder sentencing hearing. Okay. You just don't do that. And she keeps doing it.
between Kouri and me, I never touched her. Kouri pled guilty to assaulting me. Yet she and her circle have continued to spread false narratives. This is a pattern of distortion that has kept our family trapped in conflict. There is something that has haunted me for years. And I found out Katie was the exact same today. I begged Eric to leave too. I begged him to divorce her, but Eric was trying to protect his boys. People often struggle to recognize intimate partner violence when the victim is a man. But Eric's actions spoke for themselves. He documented conversations. He tried to protect himself. He knew after Valentine's Day that she had tried to poison him, but he also believed that if he left, he could not fully protect his children. So he stayed because he was trying to keep them safe.
I just wonder, so he couldn't protect the kids in what way? In what way? And if she's that much danger, could he be able to show that to a judge so he could get full custody? Because after he got it poisoned the first time and he knew about it, he still stuck with it. So I wonder what he thought about it. Is he gonna have her finish him off? I wonder if he thought he had a really short lifespan at that point.
This trauma has seeped into every corner of my life. And also, It has also deeply affected my own family and marriage. My husband, William, watched me be consumed by the pursuit of justice. For 4 years, we have lived in a constant state of stress, grief, and emotional exhaustion. I lost my job as a professor at Montana Tech University on the very day I was subpoenaed to appear in this court. Eric was so proud of me earning my PhD, and teaching students was something I loved and that made me proud. It now seems like another thing that Kouri's actions have taken away from me.
Chit-chatting away. Who cares what you have to say, Amy? Who cares? I don't care what you have to say. I've not respected anything about this trial. All these days we had the witnesses testifying and arguments being made. I didn't respect this court, and I'm not going to respect them now.
But the most devastating loss.
I'll do everything I can to make you even more upset if you ever go back and watch this again, because you'll see me smirking and laughing and chit-chatting away in the background.
Is one that isn't in any police report. Because of the unrelenting stress of this investigation and the constant attacks on our family, I suffered a traumatic miscarriage of twins. We lost our children. We lost the future we were building. Kouri's actions didn't just end one life. They reached out and stifled the lives of my unborn children as well. That loss lives inside this tragedy too. Eric's murder did not just take someone from my life. It plunged me into a darkness. It stole the light I once carried. It erased the future I had planned. Every day I wake up and step into this same crushing emptiness.
Yeah, John Smith, I agree with you. He kept the sandwich, talking about Eric here, 17 days before the actual murder was effectuated. Gone to the emergency room, saved that as evidence. Yeah, I think he would have been able to survive and then use that as an angle of going after custody of the kids.
Where time itself feels frozen and meaningless. The laughter of my future children, the warmth of my family, the simple joy of waking to a new morning, all of it has been devoured by this crime. This grief is limitless, resembling the ocean. Sometimes it softly touches.
I'm just telling you, I'm just like angry as a lawyer, even though I'm not a licensed lawyer in Utah. You know, these two attorneys, they're former public defenders in the federal system. So they're in federal court with a federal judge. I can't imagine a federal judge in the formality, it's much more formal in federal court, also in the military court, having them act and carry on this way between Wendy Lewis and Kouri Richins. I don't get it. I just don't get it.
The shore. Other times it pounds against it with fierce force. Occasionally it surges like a massive tsunami, overwhelming everything.
Cynthia Margetti, you're saying, okay, Carl, you don't like Amy? I don't know what you're talking about. Well, what did I say anything negative about Amy? My heart goes out to the Richins family. This is tragic what they're having to go through. I'm talking about the empathy I have and compassion for them just being emotionally just raked over the coals for all these years.
These changes can occur suddenly, and like the ocean, it cannot be controlled. I didn't just lose my brother. I lost my sister-in-law. I lost someone I considered my friend. We'd had good times together. That loss is so complicated now, Your Honor, because it forces you to grieve someone who is still alive while facing the horror of what they have done. It is grief that doesn't resolve. It just sits there heavy every day. This crime
Look at this. Look at this. This is
has fractured our family in ways outsiders cannot understand.
Yeah, I'm surprised the judge is this lax. This is contemptuous behavior. Unreal.
One of the most painful realities is that my husband and I do not get to see our nephews This tragedy has created a wall of trauma between us, and that feels impossible to climb. Because of this crime, we are no longer present in those boys' lives the way Eric would have wanted. In 2023, I told this court I never knew evil like this existed. Everything I have witnessed since has confirmed that. Kouri did not just kill Eric, she attempted to kill the spirit of everyone who loved him. She lied to his children, she lied to the world.
Oh yeah, so I'm acting as how Corey's thinking. That's what I was doing. So whoever made that statement saying I don't like Amy, no, what I do a lot of times is I'm acting what the defendant is probably saying to themselves. So please don't confuse that. Where I'm bashing a victim. Oh my gosh, that's way off. So thanks y'all for helping correct that.
And has shown no remorse while dancing on his grave for profit. Your Honor, a parole-eligible sentence is not a conclusion. It is a reoccurring nightmare. It guarantees that every few years, Eric's sons will be notified that their father's murderer is seeking freedom. It forces them to relive the trauma repeatedly for decades. Eric died trying to be his children's shield. He can no longer protect them, so now the responsibility falls to this court. I ask you to provide these boys with the finality and safety they deserve. I ask you to ensure that the noise of Kouri Richins never enters their lives again. For the years of suffering we've endured, for the children who will grow up without their father, and for the life she stole from Eric and the peace she stole from us, I respectfully ask that you sentence Kouri Richins to life without the possibility of parole. Happy birthday, Rico. Thank you.
Another phenomenal statement. What an impact. Gut-wrenching.
Are you Jessica?
The pain that this family's
Good morning, Judge.
endured.
Take your time.
My name is Jessica Black. I'm a licensed clinical mental health therapist and a registered therapist. Myself and my colleagues are here today to read the victim impact statements for 3 children. We are here as advocates on their behalf. After a developmentally appropriate process, the boys were able to decide individually how they wanted to share their statements, and this is what they chose. Our roles are to read their words exactly as they wrote. The boys want the court and the world to hear their side. This is from WR. I woke up to sirens, and there were a lot of people at my house, and I was definitely scared. I felt confused. I was in a bedroom with my brothers, and I didn't know what was happening. At first, I was really scared because I didn't know what was happening, and I had no control, and I felt helpless.
This is a victim impact statement given by a counselor for the boys. So she's speaking for the boys.
I felt really overwhelmed. After my dad died, Kouri would put us in the basement while she was with the neighbor. I felt scared because I thought something really bad was happening again. She would take me to places that smelled really bad. Everything she did made me feel uncomfortable. When someone talks about Kouri, it makes me feel hateful and ashamed. She took away my dad. It's made me have a hard time trusting people. I was scared that Kouri's family would come to my school and take me. I had to go to counseling with DCFS in Heber, and I did not like it. DCFS made me talk to Kouri, and I couldn't do things that I wanted to do. I felt not important to anyone. I feel a lot better about myself now than I did with Kouri. I can't ever see my dad again. I want her to go to prison forever. If she got out, I would be so scared, really mad, and I wouldn't want to go with her anywhere. I'm worried that she would take me away from Katie and Clint. Once she is gone, I will feel happy, and I will feel safer and relaxed and trust people more.
Thank you.
That's apparently for the youngest one. Yeah, they don't refer to her as mom.
Christina.
Your Honor.
I am Christina Green. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, not registered play therapist, and I will be reading for AR. You took away my dad for no reason other than greed, and you only cared about yourself and your stupid boyfriends. You were not caring and watching over me and my brother.
Look at that smirk she's given about her own son making a statement. Look at that. Like, oh, okay, wow. That's news to me. Meaning like, it's not true. I don't believe you. You're lying.
You took away my dad for no reason other than greed, and you only cared about yourself and your stupid boyfriends. You were not caring and watching over me and my brothers. I had to be a parent to W. C and I would walk him to the bus stop, feed him, and watch him. You were not concerned about our health. When we got hurt, you didn't even care. When C got ran over by a side-by-side, you still made him go to the soccer game that day without taking him to the doctors first. You would lock C in his room, and I would have to go to the kitchen and bring him food. You shamed us when we didn't want to eat uncooked lasagna you made. We threw it away because we couldn't eat it. Then you made us watch videos of children starving in war areas. You wanted to scare us into eating something that wasn't cooked. You wouldn't let our dog outside, and then the dog would pee inside. You created this problem, then you would smack my dog on the head as hard as you could. You wouldn't let me put my kitten in the garage for safety at night, and we found it eaten by raccoons the next day. You wouldn't let us turn on and use the heater lamp for the chickens and bunnies, and they froze to death. You would always argue with my dad and lock the door. You were not playing the role as a real mother does. You were doing the opposite. Now my dad can't be my coach anymore, can't be at any of my games. He won't be at my birthdays. He can't teach me how to drive. He won't be at my graduation, and he can't take me camping or fishing. You made me paranoid about sleeping on my dad's side of the bed by saying I might die or get harmed when I was just trying to be close to my dad after you killed him. You took away everything from me and my brothers. I don't want you out of jail because I will not feel safe if you are out. You have never said sorry for anything that you have done to me and my brothers. I don't want you to hurt anyone again. I know that you will need to stay in jail to fully take accountability for what you did to me, C, W, and my dad. With you in jail, I will be able to continue to feel safe and live a happy and successful life without fear of you hurting me or anyone I love. Thank you, Your Honor.
Wow. Animal abuse as well. Pet abuse are heartless.
Sarah.
Anybody can kill humans. What's a pet to them? You know, and little children love their pets. Look at her eye right there. Are you saying something to her again?
Yes, my name is Sarah. I'm a licensed clinical social worker and registered play therapist, and I'm going to read the victim impact statement for CR. My name and age now, my name and age I was at the time of the crime. CR, age 12, now 13. I was 9 when my dad was murdered. What I would like to see happen if the perpetrator is convicted of the crime, I would like to see Kouri get a life sentence.
So he's not calling her mom. He's calling her Kouri. Doesn't look at her mom. Never will.
Thoughts regarding an appropriate sentence for the person who is accused of this crime and if they are found guilty. I think Kouri should get a life sentence because what she did is very sick. Because it had no reason to happen and it impacted a bunch of people, including me. These are some reasons why I think she should have a life sentence. The information I feel is important for the judge to be aware of in sentencing. I think the judge should know that my dad was a good person and very thoughtful and kind and helped whoever needed help. He was always taking the extra mile to help people. My physical injury.
He didn't just hear that. He saw that from his dad. This eldest, who's 13 now, he knows his dad loved him and he remembers a lot of stuff and he can see a lot of photos and stuff. So he of all three boys definitely knows what a loss it is for Eric to be murdered.
As a result of this crime are as follows. I was sleeping and then I went to get a drink of water, then went back to bed. And when I woke up shaking and Bailey called the ambulance and they came and I couldn't talk for a while, I think Kouri had something to do with it because she didn't call the ambulance. She called Bailey and Bailey called the ambulance. At the ER, Kouri resisted to have my blood drawn. And kids who usually have this kind of seizure is when they are a few months old to a year old. I learned later that Kouri bought more fentanyl and had it in the house when this happened. I think this is what happened. She did what she did to my dad in the living room. My experienced emotional injury because of this crime is described as follows. Sad. I feel mad that I have to feel sad. I went from being scared for my life to feeling really good. I was scared for my life because I didn't eat that much. Kouri was always drunk or gone. I was always locked in my room. I can't remember, but I am pretty sure that
Kouri's always drugged or gone. And look at Kouri's reaction. Let me back that up.
my experienced emotional injury because of this crime is described as follows. Sad. I feel mad that I have to feel sad. I went from being scared for my life to feeling really good. I was scared for my life because I didn't eat that much. Kouri was always drunk or gone. I was always locked in my room. I can't remember, but I am pretty sure the lock was on the outside. Kouri threatened she would kill my lizard because we didn't want to watch some weird show with her. All of our chickens died because there was no food or water. My rabbit died because we didn't have food or water. The goats almost starved to death because she bought moldy hay and she didn't water them. Nothing ever got fed or watered.
Wow. Wow. That's unreal.
It didn't feel good to worry about my animals. I felt like I had to take care of my siblings. Ash mostly took care of me though, because I was locked in my room. Ash would bring me food.
So she killed how many pets by not feeding them and giving them water? And then you have your little kids see that. That affects them the rest of their life. I guarantee you, seeing that kind of torturous treatment of animals will create scars for them the rest of their lives.
Kouri would lock me up if I told her
Bad enough losing your dad and knowing your mom is the one that killed him, but seeing also animals being treated that way.
she was drunk. This happened pretty much daily. I feel angry that she locked me in my room. I am angry almost all my animals died. I am angry she threatened to kill them. I am angry she killed my dad.
Yeah, so all he knows is mom killed everything around me that I loved. My dad, my pets, whether it's a goat or chicken. I forget what else they said. Unbelievable.
I started to feel really good when I moved into a safe place. It was safe because the people around me were safe, Katie and Clint. I felt safe at Jake and Shalina because I wasn't with Kouri anymore. Counseling. I feel
Yeah, bunnies. You're going to starve to death bunnies? Really? Kids love bunnies.
annoyed that I have to go to counseling and tell the story about what happened 55 million times. I feel better now because I know it's to help me. I would like to not have to go to counseling. I would like to have to not worry about anything after this trial is over. I want the judge to know. I hope Kouri gets convicted to a life sentence. Kouri is always drunk. I want the judge to know my dad was a good person and I miss my dad. I miss my dad, but I do not miss how my life used to be. I don't miss Kouri. I will tell you that.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. On your face like that, Kouri. This is from your own kids. No emotion whatsoever. Just mocking your own kid's statement.
Mr. Bloodworth, anything further from the state?
Your Honor, the state moves to admit state sentencing exhibits A through I previously provided to the court and defense. I have copies now I can bring to the court.
Any objection, Ms. Dester?
Yes, we do object to some of those being on the public docket. And we can, if we want to take a break, we can go through that with the prosecution. I actually sent him an email asking if they would be filed publicly. His response was no. So I was unaware that he was going to do that.
Admitting them and filing them publicly are two different things. Any objection to their admission?
Not to their admission, only to their public filing, Your Honor.
Okay, we can work that out.
Yeah, so that's a good point here. Tina, you're saying not a shed tear, she hears her children's voices. So she's hearing what the words through these counselors of her children. And you know what? You think that'd be gut wrenching. She'd be sobbing, crying because she missed them so much, and they don't even refer to her as mom. All these kind of things a normal person would have if they were had any heart whatsoever, even if they killed their spouse, the father of these poor boys. But in any event, this is something where she just has zero emotion for her kids and what she's put them through. Unreal.
States A through I are admitted. I need a break. We'll be in recess until 11:10. If during that break you and Ms. Nestor would come to some consensus about what the defense wants to have listed as private and or protected depending on the content.
Your Honor, the state agrees all should be
Okay,
private.
understood. That's the order of the court. We'll be in recess until 11:10. Follow the directions of the court security director and the bailiffs in terms of how to leave and re-enter the courtroom. Thank you.
We also had Bloodworth. He was at one point asking the court to give a permanent or like restraining order from Kouri being prohibited from having any contact with the Richins and the boys, no contact with the boys included. So the judge said under the law he didn't think he could. Bloodworth argued that he thought that the law did allow him to do that. So there was a break here.
Then we have some letters that some of which we've been asked to read, others are here to read themselves.
Okay, so they had a bunch of letters submitted here that they read, and then only a couple people came to make statements. I know some folks were making comments like, well, why would they not force them to have to testify? Well, in sentencing, they have relaxed rules of evidence in most all states and federal courts. So what you're allowed to do is not have to have the witness there. You can just submit a packet. I always call it for my clients, and I call it the I Love Me packet. So you can get any kind of thing you want to try to pull on the heartstrings of the person deciding your fate. And so anyway, I'm not going to go through all that here. Let's just go ahead to Kouri's own statement here at the 4-hour mark from the time that court TV started streaming this.
500139. Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor, anything further before we hear from Ms. Richins?
No.
Okay. I understand that Ms. Richins will like to stand at the podium.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you folks would like to join her?
Yes, Your Honor.
No problem.
There's a comment here by RN asking, are these impact statements for or against have any real effect on a judge, or are their minds made up by this point? I think based on the calculating nature and the fact that these are young boys that are just savagely having to know that their father was killed off, had no chance to even make it to a hospital, and this thing was all for money. I mean, this is about as cold and heartless as you could get. And then you see her demeanor during this trial. That's why, if you notice, there was a post today where I said it's a no-brainer. So I think for the judge, he came to this like realizing, he's not going to give her 25 to life because this is so aggravating of a case. And so as it turns out, yeah, he does give life without parole. So yeah, thanks to my brother John for putting that statement out there. I was out away from my computer here, and I couldn't make a comment on the phone, so I was able to call John, and John was able to take care of that. So thanks, John, making that post out there. And sure enough, it was life without parole.
There should be Kleenex up there if you need it.
Do you want water?
Yeah, that was the other thing. The defense was trying to block victim impact statements from being part of the public record. And so some of them are going to be out there in the public record and others aren't. So I don't know what stuff was discussed behind chambers there when they sorted this stuff out, but they're doing what they have to try to get evidence before the court, and they don't want her publicly embarrassed or something like that. So the thing is, that ought to tell you something right there. If people don't want their face and name being shown, to say, hey, I'm the one that stood up for Kouri. I thought she was innocent. So they must not really feel strongly about being tied to her, is what I would say. So I think it sort of looks bad. Reminds you, she's like toxic to be around.
My sweet baby boys. I know that today you don't want to speak to me, have a relationship with me, or you may think you hate me, and that's okay. I will never be angry at you for your feelings. When the day comes that you're ready, I will be here for you, waiting for you, and loving you. But I need you boys to know and understand that I have been desperately trying to get in contact with you any way that I can for years. That all of my communication has been completely cut off from you since early 2024. And now I will use any opportunity I can to get a message to you. Even if that means sharing it publicly to the world, fully restrained, in my jail clothes, in one of the most horrible situations possible. I don't care, and I'm not embarrassed or ashamed by any of it. All I care about is you boys. I will do whatever it takes for you to hear the truth from me and to come home to you. For the time being, I don't know when that is or when my next opportunity will be. So for now, bear with me as I have tried to consolidate everything I've wanted to share with you for the last few years.
Okay, first of all, let me say I've never seen a sentencing of any kind where it starts out as a statement to your own children. You're not making a statement to the judge. You're basically using this as a chance to talk to the what should be a statement to the judge. You're making statements to your own victims that you created, your own children, and then you're standing at the podium, and then you have your 3 lawyers surrounding you. I mean, this just looks so bizarre. Again, another bizarre thing done by the defense. What you should do is have your client get up there. Many times they're just going to sit there at their table, not move or anything, just read their statement from their table. But having her up here at the podium and then you're huddled around her like she needs Secret Service protection or something. I mean, it's like really something you're not going to normally see.
With everything I want you to know until I'm able to speak to you again. And one long message. And although you may not be ready to hear it today, that's okay. My hope is one day you will be. May 6th of 2024, temporary custody was transferred from the state of Utah Child Services to your Aunt Katie and Uncle Clint. My last video call with you boys was several weeks prior to that, around April 24th, 2024, when you were still in the state's custody.
Okay, I don't know if I'm going to get to that, but yeah, thanks. Who is that? Yes, Miss Olga, you're saying, I've never heard a defense attorney say this is the only client I've ever thought that didn't do it. Yeah, there's something like that was said by Wendy Lewis, and it's like you're not supposed to personalize and vouch for your client as an advocate. Okay, you can say, hey, your client didn't do it. I never say my client. I always say the name of the person because I think it makes me feel like I'm too biased and emotionally tied in with my client. So I've never try to ever use the word my client, especially in front of a jury. So I try to have that objectivity that way and always talk to them by their name. But anyway, the point being here is her personally vouching for her innocence, or saying like, she's something to the effect of, she said she's innocent, and I personally think she's innocent. And like, you're crossing a line there. You should not be personally vouching for the innocence of your client. So basically, you're saying, Judge, you're wrong to sentence her. She's gotten railroaded by your court. I mean, it just doesn't bode well at all as a trial advocate to act this way.
Temporary custody was transferred to Katie and Clint against my wishes. They cut off all of my communication between you boys and I. It was years before I would ever have a trial. I warned social services that if they gave custody of you
You know, you're leaning against the lectern there. Why would you be leaning against your lectern like that? This is a court of law. You're not allowed to lean as your client's addressing the court. So you want to take this strange way of addressing the court, and you're going to lean on the podium? You should never be that comfortable.
the Richins family, it would be the last time I would be able to see or speak to you boys again. And your opinion of me in this case and wild allegations would soon mirror those of the Richins family. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you're being brainwashed is what she's saying. You young boys are being brainwashed. So let me tell you what the truth is. Which we all know is complete fabrication and more gaslighting, targeting others as being the wrongdoers when you are the evildoer.
You need to know the Darden side of the family fought a long, hard battle for custody, but was eventually ignored and denied. Since temporary custody was granted to Katie and Clint, they have not allowed me to see or speak to you. No more video calls, no more visits. They blocked the phone number for the jail, so I can't call you.
Good.
Birthday cards, Christmas cards, the letters I would send you boys, they were all returned or rerouted.
Good, because they don't want to talk to you. They know what you did. Don't you get that, Kouri?
All of my contact was cut off more than 2 years ago. So please ask them. Please ask them for your cards, for your letters. If I tried calling you.
Try to fight through the Richins blocking you from the truth that shows my innocence. Yeah, sorry, it's never going to happen. They know you for what you did. They know the truth.
Please just ask them, whether it's now or in 10 years. The one thing I need you boys to know, I did not abandon you. I did not just walk out of your lives one day to never return, to never call, to never show up.
Oh, now she's having a little bit of emotion, right? She's trying to, it sounds like she's boo-hooing a little bit. Oh, okay. When you heard their own statement, she had no emotion whatsoever except disdain and contempt.
Regardless of what anyone tells you, I would never, ever leave you boys. And I am so sorry if for even 1 second you thought that I did. If for even 1 second you thought that I didn't love you. Because that couldn't be further from the truth.
They're afraid of her. I mean, it's just not the fact that you killed off their dad. You killed off their entire pets, all their pets they had through abuse.
You boys are my world. The reason I continue to wake up every day and fight to come home. You're my reason for living. I understand that you're in a difficult situation, mentally, emotionally, and physically.
You know what they're going through, really? Okay. How do you know that?
Understand you guys have been through an extremely difficult time this past 4 years. You should never.
Yeah, where's the tears? I agree with you. No tears. So any emotions are still not enough to generate tears.
Never have to deal with such tragedy. And I am so, so sorry that you were going through this. You boys have the right to be angry and sad and confused, feel in survival mode, have questions. All of this is completely valid. Your feelings are completely valid. And one day when this is all over, we can sit down and talk about all of this and sort it all out. And I promise you boys, one day it will be over.
What? It's going to be over because you're going to admit to killing their dad? And then you're going to fess up? Is that going to happen? Hopefully it will someday.
I'm not perfect. I have succeeded and I have failed. As a person, as a wife, as a parent, we all do. I have done.
She's failed at life and as a parent. Is that what she's saying? Okay, is this an admission of guilt of the charges you're about to be sentenced for?
Plenty of things I am not proud of. Some I regret, some I don't.
Do you regret the charges you're convicted of, doing the acts that got you there to the conviction and now the sentencing?
Some I'm ashamed of, and some I'm not. I regret things I have done right in my life to later find out they were for the wrong people. I have said things I shouldn't
Now she's jabbing at the Richins, I think. That's what she's driving at here.
have. I've done things I shouldn't have. Sometimes I haven't said what I should or not meant what I did say. There are things I can't change and long overdue apologies that I owe. There are would-haves and could-haves and should-haves. We all have them. We have all done them.
I should have just divorced instead of murdering Eric. Just say it. Go ahead, say it.
And you boys will too one day, but in your own way. And that's okay. That's life, and we're human. Nobody is all good or all bad. We just get portrayed that way. You're going to succeed and achieve amazing things in this life. You're also going to make mistakes and fail at some things. But use those opportunities to grow and to learn. They do not define you.
So now she's given generic mentoring of life skills. Wow.
Don't ever let other people make you think that they do. We are not defined by our best or our worst moments. We fall somewhere in the middle, ever evolving. And you boys are ever evolving. Secrets diminish self-respect. They lose trust. They make us lose ourselves. I fell in love with someone who wasn't your dad. Your dad fell in love.
Okay, that's the first thing that she's definitely admitting to doing something wrong. She's saying now she fell in love with somebody other than their dad? Really? That's the boys are supposed to think well of you with that kind of a statement.
With someone who wasn't me. I did things behind your dad's back. He did things behind mine. Don't keep secrets. Always.
Oh, okay. So in other words, your dad was no better than me. That's what she's saying here to the kids. Your dad was no better than me. So if you love your dad, you better love me.
Put your spouse first. Your dad and I didn't always do this, but don't be like us in that aspect. We made mistakes that I know I regret, and I'm
to include murdering you while the kids were in the house, of all things.
sure if he were here today, he would say that there are a few things he regrets as well.
Yeah, that he didn't divorce you and wish he never met you, never asked you out on a first date, and followed on after that from when he saw you at Home Depot as a checker.
Marriage is hard. Marriage takes work. Marriage takes love.
That's a good point here. She mentioned that Eric had also fallen in love with somebody else other than her. So there's zero proof Eric was ever unfaithful. Exactly. That never came out. That's what they tried to accuse Eric of. So they got to trash the murder victim, right?
Big love. Deep love. And you may think about divorce and you will have fights, but then you will make up and you will forgive each other. Because when your love is enough, your love keeps you together.
But wait a minute, you just said you fell in love with somebody else. And obviously you didn't love Eric because you wanted him dead just to make money and set yourself up with this other guy that was from South Carolina, didn't have a home.
Your love is all you need to ignore the noise. And your love never fails. Sometimes your dad would want to throw in the towel on our marriage, or I would want to throw in the towel on our marriage. But we never did. We always found our way back to each other.
Because Eric was too afraid you're going to harm the boys. That's why it wasn't because of love. For you, it was love for the boys.
I would pick up his towel, or he would pick up mine. We'd hand them back to each other and start again. Because our love never failed. We stopped keeping track of each other's wrongdoings, and we forgave, and we moved on, and we loved. And if I had to relive all of those hard days all over again, I would do it without question. Your dad and I were a lot of things, a mess of sorts sometimes. But we were this crazy, beautiful mess that made us a family, because our love was enough.
Your love of what? Your love of living a high society life, having a mansion to live in, being the envy of the community. Was that worth taking the boys' life away from them?
Our hard days never outweighed our good days. Our weak moments never outweighed our most memorable happy days.
Well, yeah, they do. If you kill him, how does that apply to when you kill him? I should say murdered him, not just kill, but murdered. Killing could be justifiable. You had no justifiable reason at all to do what you did.
We always laughed more than we cried. We failed at some things, but we never failed at loving you boys.
Killing their dad is not love, okay? Just gaslighting the judge here.
Our love was enough to make our house a home. Our love was enough to stay together, to raise you boys. Our love was enough to forgive each other when others said that we shouldn't.
What love is she talking about? She's not accepting any responsibility here, so.
To do things for each other others may disagree with. Our love was enough to protect each other, even though it may cost us everything. Love can
Including your life? Really? Okay, yeah. Unreal.
make you lose yourself. Sometimes it makes you do things you know you shouldn't, but knowing it's not wrong at the same time. Because your spouse is your person, your love is enough. One day, you will meet someone and fall in love and understand that just your love is enough. Enough to withstand everything else.
You know, she's talking about all this love stuff, and yet you don't see any love in any of her behavior. I mean, is this something that was written by AI and her lawyers gave it to her for her to give a statement on? I mean, what's this even mean? It's just rambling about love. Yeah, chat GTP. Just rambling on and on, talking about life skills and our love was held us together and blah, blah, blah. All this love stuff. She couldn't stand it. She couldn't stand it being married to Eric. So unreal.
The noise of the world, the obstacles, the trials of marriage, the heartache, bad choices, forgiveness. You will understand your love is enough and your love never fails. Don't worry about what others think about your relationship. Don't worry if they would do things differently. You just love.
Yeah, don't worry about what the other Richins think about you. Do what you want.
And you love big, and you love deep, and you protect your love. Your dad and I didn't have it all together. Together, we really did have it all.
What? You didn't really have it all together, but together you had it all? I mean, that sounds like AI. So, just like her book, did she have somebody ghostwrite this for her, or a machine ghostwrite it for her?
Because we had you three. Don't let anyone choose the direction of your life by their opinions and their judgments. Being able to hold yourself together in the worst of situations doesn't make you emotionless. Separating personal and business life and emotions doesn't make you unreasonable. Resentment can get the best of others. Don't let it get the best of you.
Sounds like she's all understands psychology and everything. Like she's totally has a grip on everything about life, how to handle conflict, stress. She's just just has all this this love flow out of her. She's just so in touch with her emotions, and she's emotionally connected to people. Just loves her family, wants the best for them, loves Eric, loves his family. I mean, she's just a bundle of joy and happiness, right?
People will always have a lot to say about lives they've never lived. Live your life the way you choose to live it. Just be safe and be healthy and be happy. That's all that matters.
It's all just rambling nonsense. There's nothing here that's connecting with the judge saying, this is really impactful to me. I really see how much she loves these kids, that she's just pouring her heart and soul out for these boys.
Sometimes people will want you to believe that life is simply black and white. The situations are black.
So think about it. She's still talking to her kids. She's not talking to the judge at all. It's the most insane thing I've ever seen for sentencing. Is like you're talking to your children instead of addressing the court.
Black and white, but they're not. Life, situations, they are full of color. At the very least, shades of gray. Always question the color, even if you're only questioning the gray areas. Keep an open mind. Question situations and stay curious.
Question gray areas. Keep an open mind. It's just she's just like bouncing all over the place.
You will have some people in your life tell you how their love for you is unconditional. But once your most private life has been revealed, you quickly find out just how conditional their love actually was.
Yeah, this is a blow to the Richins here. That's what she's doing. Trying to rub their faces in the dirt.
Choose the people you hold close to your heart wisely. And always be the friend that walks into somebody's life when everyone else chooses to walk out. Always remember, the only people you owe your loyalty to are those people who never made you question theirs. Every day you wake
Boy, she sounds like she's so wise, has amazing life skills.
up, you get a second chance at life. To do whatever you want. Be whoever you want. To succeed in all your dreams. Take the day and run with it. It's a blessing. Don't take it for granted. Sometimes you'll have hard days when all you want to do is count all the ways things are going wrong or have gone wrong in your life. In that moment, stop, take a minute, take a step back, take a breath, and switch your thinking to count all the ways that it has gone right. All the good that has come to you, boys. All the grace, the blessings, and the love. Remember that anyone can give up on something. That's the easy way out. True strength comes when everyone is expecting you to fall apart, but you hold it together, persevering through the hardest of times.
Yeah, this is like a bunch of memes. Really, really bizarre. This is not anything that she came up with on her own.
Always persevere. Always prove them wrong.
Some of the stuff when it has to do with bashing the Richins, I think that's stuff that she added in herself.
Because you boys don't give up, and you boys will never quit. There's always going to be someone out there ready to tear you down, misrepresent you, lie about you, tell half-truths, and judge you.
And their last name will be Richins, is what she's trying to tell the boys. So turn against all the family that you know loves you. You can't trust them. So really, they're going to believe you, Kouri?
They will judge you on decisions you do or don't make, what you did or didn't do, what you did or didn't say. They will take out of context and twist your words. They will judge you on your emotions or the way you grieve.
This is your judgment day here for sentencing, and all you can do is bash the victims.
You may show too much emotion. You may not show enough. They will tell you you're not grieving correctly. You're too angry. You're too sad. You're holding it together too well or not well enough. Or maybe you're too ambitious. They will
Playing all this victim stuff. There's no accountability here whatsoever.
judge you on your demeanor. If you cry, if you don't cry, if you don't do anything at all. And all of this will get misinterpreted into something that it's not, formed by the opinions of who's ever creating it. And then silence is also too often misinterpreted and misjudged. But when people behave that way, it has much more to do with them personally than it does you. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. It doesn't make it true. Remember who you are and what you stand for, the truth, and ignore the noise. Ignore their noise. Ignore their egos, their entitlement, and their biased judgment. Those who abuse the power and the positions they hold will have a higher power to report to one day. And that higher power holds the final truth, their final truth.
Okay, so now you're saying that God is going to hold them accountable, the people that do wrong to you. How about you being held accountable for murdering your 3 boys' father?
Don't ever let
Unreal.
someone tell you how to show emotion, how you're supposed to react to any given situation. Don't care what others think about you, what others say about you. Just let them talk. Just be you, be yourself, be authentic.
That's what she keeps talking about herself, but you know what? She can't be authentic either. She can't. It's all phony, 100% phoniness. Nothing authentic or sincere.
Genuine. Because those who truly know you, who truly love you, is all you need. Forgive those who turn their back on you, but never forget. Don't hold hate in your heart toward others.
Does she sound like somebody that's about to be sentenced to life without parole? Is there anything that she's saying here that makes you sympathetic to her? So imagine you're the judge and you're hearing this rambling on and on and on. Nothing from the heart. It's all just some kind of a gobbledygook gibberish generated off of some kind of AI.
It only brings you down more than it does them. Apologize when you're wrong, even if that apology is long overdue. You can't change what you can't change, and you can't change the past. But you can take accountability when you mess up. Admit when you make a mistake, even when it's embarrassing or humiliating, even when
Unless it's murder, don't admit that ever. Don't admit that ever, and just hire these 2 people on my side, either side of me, and the guy behind me.
it can ruin relationships, careers, or your integrity. Be honest with yourself and those you need to. But never apologize for something you didn't do. Never admit to something you didn't do. And never beg for mercy for something you didn't do.
This is the weirdest thing I've never seen. We're now 18 minutes in, and she's only halfway done, folks. She's only halfway done.
Don't take the easy way out. Always stand up for what's right, even if you find yourself standing alone or with a small group of people that love you. Believe in yourself and be brave. Never give up on your fight, no matter how long it takes. Months, even years. Never give up on truth, justice, and the fight of corruption. When something is broken, fix it. When something doesn't make sense, question it.
How's this a gut-wrenching thing saying, I miss you boys, I love you, it just is tearing me up that I can't see you, and just cry out in love, professing your love to the boys, having some kind of speech, yeah, like a valedictorian speech somebody mentioned. That's what this sounds like.
If money is paying for it, follow the money. Your brothers are your best friends. Your dad and I raised you boys. That if you cared about nothing else in this world, you care about each other.
You hear about them?
Your brothers will always be there for you. They will always be your brothers. You love them. You protect them. You take care of each other. You support each other. You help each other. And you trust one another. You be loyal to one another. And you keep each other safe and healthy and happy. And you stay together no matter what. You have each other's backs. Be patient with one another.
Look at it's so boring and cringy. Look at this Wendy Lewis attorney still having to lean against the lectern here.
Don't keep track of wrongdoings. Let them go. Forgive. Move on. Show compassion. Empathy.
Forgive me for killing your dad. Move on from the fact your dad is dead. And just try to have a wonderful life with your mom.
Toward each other. And never go a day without telling one another you love each other. Because you are never too old or too cool or too busy to love each other. Don't ever settle for just good. Go for great. In school, in your career, in hunting, in fishing, in your relationships, in your goals. Exceed expectations. Be like your dad. Be generous. Be charitable. Stay humble. Give when you have too much. Give more than you take. Help when others are in need. Serve your community. Be like your dad.
And not like your mom. Hey, that's something I really agree with here. Be like your dad. Totally. And they will be like their dad. Because you know what? The Richins are going to be surrounding the boys, loving the boys, reminding them what a wonderful dad they had, all the kind of stuff he used to do with them and would be doing even more with them the older they got. So, yeah, that is one point that I agree with. You know, if you stop to think about it, her two attorneys, everything has to have strategic importance when you're in the court of law. Sometimes it's tactical, so it's more short-term strategies, or an agenda you're trying to accomplish, or strategy is more of a longer-term play of the big picture kind of thing. So, what is their strategy or a tactic they're using here by having Kouri talk about all this stuff to her three boys? So it's almost like, I'm just thinking about it now. It's almost like they're helping the judge give her life without parole because this is her farewell speech to her boys. It's like a farewell speech. So she's never going to see the boys again. So it's like, did they tell her, hey, give some kind of parental advice as if you're never going to see your boys again the rest of your life? And so that's what she's doing. She's giving a statement as if she's going to be locked away and the key thrown away, and she'll never talk to her boys again. They'll never want to see her again, have nothing to do with her again. So just let her rip. Just go out there and say whatever you want. Just ramble on, and we'll have you up there talking about a farewell speech to the boys instead of talking to the judge and saying that you're sorry, that you're going to change, you want a chance to grow, you messed up, you're guilty, the jury did the right thing. Instead of doing something that's like going to accomplish something, no, you're just doubling down and just making a complete spectacle of yourself here. So good job, way to go.
Never stop learning through education, through people, through travel, culture, through business and friends, from your success and achievements, from your mistakes and failures. Be like your dad. Love the outdoors. Find your peace, your therapy, your heart and soul on the top of a mountain somewhere where it's quiet, where it's calm.
Think about it. If she needed to get some more life insurance money to be able to get that mansion on the swamp fixed up, you know, that's would have been the easiest thing for her to do is, we had an accident here. We had an accident here at the house or at the swamp. Look, one of my boys wound up dead at the swamp.
Where you will be able to feel the spirits of those that you love and miss the most. Be like your dad. Laugh often, laugh loud, laugh when you want to cry, laugh when you're mad. Have that laugh that everyone recognizes and no one will ever forget. Even when you're gone. Be like your dad.
Yep.
Love your family.
Well, your dad wanted nothing to do with you. So that is another truthful statement I agree with, Kouri. Okay. Yes, be like your dad and write her off, have nothing to do with her again for your own welfare.
Good, the bad, the disagreements, the back and forth arguments.
Is she talking about all the time she was upsetting Eric and fighting with him and him catching her and stuff? Is that what she's talking about?
Choose forgiveness. Choose love. Choose happiness. Be a loyal brother. Be a noble son. Be like your dad. Have the hobbies that bring you excitement and joy, that give you a break from life, but build your life full of people and family who you love and that love you. Build a family that makes you happy to come home to every day, with a career that makes you
H. Potter's asking, do these lawyers really believe that she's innocent? No, I don't think that at all.
hold your head high.
Not for a second.
Be the friend everyone wants to be friends with. The dad that everyone wishes they had. Be like your dad.
Come on, wrap it up. Wrap it up.
As your parents, your dad and I wanted to give you every opportunity or choice that we didn't have. We would do anything for you boys, or break our backs falling over obstacles and finding our way to be sure you had the best of the best. Even if we didn't always do it well, or have the right answers, or the words, we would give you everything that we had. But the one thing I can't give you boys are the answers that you want the most.
Is why I killed your dad, murdered your dad. I don't have a good answer for that. And I agree with that.
Because I can't give you something that I don't have.
Ability to bring back your dad from being dead.
An explanation that I just don't know. I've never lost a son. I've never lost one of my brothers, a nephew, or a best friend. But I did grow up with a single mother, and I have lost my father. I do know what it's like to wonder, what if Dad could have watched me graduate college?
RN, you're asking how common is it that a clearly guilty person sticks their innocence like that? It's very common. Yeah, it's very common, especially if they have really nothing to negotiate. You're facing life for a murder. They're not going to really negotiate it down if you're the only one behind it. So there's no other co-defendants to flip on, like on an Adelson case. So then, yeah, you pretty much are going to wind up going to trial because they're going to want you to do life without parole. Maybe you could plead guilty and try to get 25 to life, but you got to admit to something, and most defendants want to think they can roll the dice and win.
Me down the aisle. Be there for the birth of one of you boys. If only Dad were here. I do know what that's like. The lifetime of pain that brings. The sadness and the anger. I would never wish that upon anyone. Especially you boys. My own sweet babies.
Speeding it up here, 1.25.
It's a lifetime of what ifs and if onlys. An empty hole in your heart where your dad's supposed to be. He's supposed to fill. He's supposed to walk through life with you, with us, with our family. I do know what that's like. So murder, an attempted murder, 4 years later. And it's still hard for me to say those words out loud. They get caught in my throat.
I don't think she's crying. I think she just got the sniffles.
I turn my stomach.
Where's the tears? We got a side angle view here. Do you see any tears coming down? No.
I try to avoid them as much as possible. Because it makes me physically sick to think about. But still to this day, I can't believe this is real sometimes. That this is our life. That this is my life. Convicted of taking one of the people out of my life who filled it the most. My husband. The father of my children. Still in shock. And still in disbelief.
Still in shock, disbelief? Yeah, that you got caught. That's what you're shocked and disbelief of, that you're actually going to be sentenced to life without parole. You're never going to see the outside of a prison.
Accused and now convicted of such a heinous crime. Potentially costing me to never see you boys again. I just lost both of their parents. And there's no textbook answer on how or what we're supposed to do. How I'm supposed to react or move forward. And I'm so sorry you boys are being pulled through the middle of this. It's absolute chaos.
Why wouldn't attorneys like have some Kleenex there or something? Even the judge there, here, take some Kleenex if you got a runny nose.
Between two families fighting that both love you so very much. Trust and assets, our home, none of it matters. You boys are what matter. Your safety, your health, mentally, emotionally, all of that should be being prioritized. I will and have always prioritized your safety. I am your mother, and that is my job. And for anyone to scare you otherwise, it's just cruel and heartless. I'm sorry that 8 people from a jury who have never met you or me or our family have the right to determine our future. And they did that in less than 3 hours. In a perfect world, there might be justice. But in a perfect world, nothing ever goes wrong. Tragedies don't happen. Some think a verdict or the sentencing will be the answer that they seek or that they need, but it won't. It will only give them something else to think about for a while. It may help to disperse some of their hurt or their resentment, but it won't relieve it. This grief will outlive us all. The hundreds of lives that this has affected. The lifelong trauma you boys have suffered this last 4 years will outlive us all. You haven't had to just endure losing one parent, but losing 2. And no child should ever have to go through that, especially when one was an unforeseen tragedy, and the other based on injustice and a system we're supposed to trust.
10 more minutes, folks, but I'm speeding it up to 1.5.
Your dad's memory will always be the kind that's a physical hurt, the tightening in your chest when you think of him, particularly on days like today, his birthday, because he was so loved that no verdict or sentence will ever be able to release that kind of suffering. I'm broken without your dad, I'm broken without you boys. God did not put me in this world to take a life.
Broken without your dad. Yeah, broken financially. I agree with that.
God put me in this world to give life, your lives. And I don't know who or what I'm supposed to be if it's not a mother. Your mother. And as much as you've been influenced into thinking that Dad was murdered, that I took your dad from you, that is completely wrong and an absolute lie. And the thought of that is still as absurd today as it was 4 years ago. And just because someone may not be perfect, that's a far reach for them to be capable of murder. To kill someone, our someone. Your dad was in physical pain, a lot of physical pain. And just because some people didn't know or didn't want to see certain things, doesn't mean they weren't happening or they weren't true. He would have never left us intentionally. And I would have never taken him from you, from us.
Okay, so it wasn't a suicide. Thanks for clarifying that. Yeah, it wasn't a suicide.
He
You're
was
right,
the
it
glue
was
that held us all
murder.
together, that made us, us.
Well, you're still leaning against the lectern.
Every little boy needs their father. Because he's supposed to teach you the things that I could never explain. He's supposed to teach you and do things with you that only a dad can do. And only he could give you those life lessons between a father and a son. I would have never taken that from you boys. I know how much you need him, how much you love him,
There's some Kleenex. All right.
how much you aspire to be just like him. And I would have never taken that from you. And I'm so sorry that I can't bring him back. For you, for me, for our family.
The wildest pre-sentencing rant, Sarah Boone, Donna Adelson, or Kouri. I never saw Sarah Boone that I recall.
I can beat myself up all day about how I could have been a better person or made better personal choices. And I can understand and accept you boys being upset about those things. But murder? No. Absolutely not. I will not accept that. And I will not be blamed for something I did not do. I will appeal and fight these charges, no matter how long it takes. Not because I have anything to prove to this court, to the state, to the Richins family, or to the world. But I do have something to prove to you three. I do care what you boys think, and I need you boys to know the truth. And because of that, I will never quit or give up on this fight for justice, the truth, and coming home to you. So please, I know that right now you may not believe me, that you believe I took Dad from you, and that's okay. I still and will always love you, and I'm asking that you please just don't give up on me.
Yes, Candy Rapper saying the sniffing is supposed to make us feel sorry for her. Yeah, she's not crying, so she has to have this sniffling going on to make it look like she's crying to try to gain some sympathy here.
Coming home, not today, not this year, but we're going to make this right. Our justice system will get this right, although this courtroom can't seem to. We have a long road ahead, but I will never quit fighting my way home to you boys. I love you more than these words could ever express.
They don't believe it.
I loved you before I ever met you. And I will love you long after I'm not here to say it.
Not true.
And every minute of every
How
day,
sad.
I miss you boys more and more. And I think about how much I wish I could be with you, that this nightmare would go away, and we could have our family back. This entire situation isn't fair to anyone, but it's especially not fair to you three. And you boys are all that matters. I want to remind you just how strong you are, that you are loved by so many, and I am beyond proud of you.
And the other thing is, I wouldn't want my client sniffling like this in front of a judge. It's like, no, interrupt them, give them some Kleenex, hold them Kleenex because they don't want to say anything, and make them blow their nose instead of doing this constant loud sniffling in a microphone.
Of everything you have overcome, everything you have achieved, and how much you bring into this world.
Hasn't said one thing to the judge yet.
You boys have been through so much, and I wish I could take away all your sadness and all your pain. Tell you how much Dad and I love you, and that everything's going to be okay. I wish I could count the freckles in your little cheeks. Read you books before bed. And help you with all your homework. I wish I could help you through your toughest nights. And hear your laugh through your happiest days. But for now, that's just not the way it is. You have to be strong. You have to remember that our strength grows in these moments when we don't think we can go on. But we keep going on anyway, because we have to push through these hard days. Because in the end, at the end of this war, it will be so worth it. But I need you boys to always keep pushing through these hard days, because this will come to an end. I just need you to hang in there. Listen to your little hearts.
Right.
Listen to your little bellies for the truth. Before you were told who to be and what to believe, remember who you are. Remember who we are. Remember our family. I will continue to call you every day, even if my calls are blocked. Just so you know that I'm here.
I'm going to stalk you and harass you. This is not helping her case, trying to get the judge to minimize her sentence.
I've always been here, and I will always be here. My cards, my letters, they will never stop.
That sounds pretty disrespectful to the boy's wishes.
I will never stop. I love you forever, Mom.
That's it. Some rambling nonsense to her boys that want nothing to do with her. Nothing to the judge.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, a fair reminder. While inside the courtroom, everyone involved in this process must be treated with respect.
Verdict.
We cannot any outward reactions inside the courtroom. If any of you feel overcome with emotion, frustration, anger, whatever, of any kind, please remember just to look down. Keep your hands folded in your lap. The court has considered the following information: the evidence, information, arguments, and recommendations provided by counsel on the record today, the victim impact statements and other statements made on the record today regarding the appropriate sentence, and the pre-sentence investigation report as corrected on the record today, including the numerous statements attached to it.
So she wiping her eyes ever? It's just her nose.
In addition,
Is it allergies? That seems like all it is.
the court has considered each of the factors set forth in Utah Code 76-3-201 subsection 2B and has prioritized those factors as required by section 201 2C. Having considered the gravity and circumstances of the offenses for which Ms. Richins has been convicted, the number of victims, and available information regarding the history, character, and rehabilitative needs of the defendant, the court hereby orders that the sentences on counts 2 through 5 shall run consecutively to each other, and
As soon as I hear consecutive, then I'm thinking she's getting the worst on the count one. She's getting life without parole.
to the sentence imposed on count 1. Moreover, the court exercises its discretion and chooses to impose no fines related to any sentence in this case. The court addresses the 5 counts on which Ms. Richins was convicted in reverse order. Ms. Richins, based on your conviction on count 5, third-degree felony forgery, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term not to exceed 5 years. Based on your conviction on count 4, second-degree felony insurance fraud, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term of not less than 1 and not more than 15 years. Based on your conviction on count 3, second-degree felony insurance fraud, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term of not less than 1 and not more than 15 years. Based on your conviction on count 2, first-degree felony attempted aggravated murder, the court hereby sentences you to an indeterminate prison term of not less than 5 years, and that may be for life. Which brings us to the final issue, the appropriate sentence for count
She won't even look the judge in the eye.
1.
This is count 1 now.
Utah Code 76-3-207.7, there are only 2 options. An indeterminate prison term of not less than 25 years, and that may be for life, or life in prison without parole. And the law requires that the court consider each option. Under a sentence of 25 to life, and considering the effect of the 4 consecutive sentences, the time that Ms. Richins has spent in custody, and the current practices of the Board of Pardons and Parole, Ms. Richins would likely serve approximately 30 years in the Utah State Prison before receiving her first parole hearing.
Now, I've never seen this before where a judge talks about how much time they'd actually serve. Judges know this stuff, and attorneys would know this stuff, but then I've never seen it discussed like this on the record.
By that time, she would be 66 years old. Under a sentence of life in prison without parole, Ms. Richins would be in prison for the rest of her natural life, unless the Board of Pardons and Parole determines by clear and convincing evidence at some future point that she is permanently incapable of being a threat to the safety of society, at which time the board would have the authority to release her. Under either scenario, Ms. Richins will be incapacitated, meaning structurally prevented from harming anyone outside the Utah State prison system for at least the next 3 decades, and perhaps much longer. But the potential impact on the survivors of the tragedy created by Kouri Richins, most importantly, Eric Richins' 3 sons, is more difficult to predict. On one hand, if the court sentences Ms. Richins to life without parole, one or more of those young men may come to resent that the court eliminated any opportunity they might have in the future, decades into the future, to express an opinion as adults with substantial life experience about whether their mother should, for example, be allowed to die with dignity.
I would think. I thought this was really a weird thing for the judge to be talking about the boys like this. I've never seen that before in a court of law, and I almost thought he was looking at giving her 25 to life instead of life without parole. The way he was going here.
On the other hand, if the court sentences Ms. Richins to 25 to life, one or more of those young men may spend the next 30 years questioning why the court failed to protect them from the prospect of the person who murdered their father.
I mean, that's basically what the judge should pick up on from their counselors talking today, which like they're scared of their mom.
Being released from prison at some time in the distant future, perhaps when they have families and children of their own. The court's contemplation of how those young men may come to feel about today's decision some 30 years from now comes from a place of genuine concern for them and humility regarding the court's inability to predict the future. Sitting here today, it is simply not possible for anyone, not even those young men, to know how their view of this case may evolve over the next several decades. My hope is that every person affected by Eric Richins' death will, over time, find their way to a state of peace. As for today, the court's duty is to make a decision, a weighty, long-lasting decision based on the best information available today. And the bottom line is this. Kouri Richins was convicted unanimously and beyond a reasonable doubt of attempting to murder Eric Richins, her husband, and the father of their 3 children. And then, having failed in her first effort of spending the next 17 days, not changing course, but doubling down, preparing to try again, and ultimately completing the act through the administration of poison. And for what? Money. All for pecuniary gain. A person convicted of
No expression, nothing to show there. Looks like she's ready to fall asleep.
committing that sequence of acts in that way and for that reason, and who causes the absolute tragedy that has befallen Eric Richins' sons and family.
He sort of talks the same, almost monotone way the whole time. He never talks with any like outrage and disgust at Kouri's actions, which is a little bit disappointing.
A person convicted of those things is simply too dangerous to ever be free.
Ever be free.
Accordingly, Ms. Richins, based on your conviction,
that's all she does. Look over attorney. Oh yeah, okay, yeah. I guess you're right. This is what I should expect.
on count 1, first-degree felony aggravated murder. The court hereby sentences you to life without parole.
Yeah.
You have the right to an appeal. You must file a notice of appeal within 30 days. You have the right to hereby sentences you to life with court.
Look at the sister here, Katie in the blue.
Accordingly, Ms. Richins, based on your conviction on count 1, first-degree felony aggravated murder, the court hereby sentences you to life without parole. You have the right to appeal.
No big
you
deal.
must file a notice of appeal within 30 days. You have the right to be represented by counsel on appeal.
So you can tell that Katie's relieved, but you know what? She's just thinking, okay, fine. You just up the ante. I'm going to win in the end. I'm going to beat you all on appeal. I'm going to walk.
Mr. Bloodworth, anything further?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Lewis, Ms. Nestor.
Your Honor, we anticipate filing a motion for new trial and would like a date set. We have a substantial record in this case. We will file the notice.
And then just talk about what date they set. They have some time. It could be up to 28 days. And if they need more time, they can ask for it. Basically, what the judge ruled. And that was the end of it. So my takeaway on this is justice happened. I think that it's a situation that she got what she deserved, and it went to trial pretty fast. So that was great to see that the prosecution team there, led by Bloodworth, the former Army JAG like myself, was so effective and convincing and detailed in his presentation, his advocacy, that the jury saw it for what it was, which is she was guilty, and she was found guilty in quick fashion. And she's now sentenced, and she has no remorse at all, folks. She has none, zip, zero, zilch. And a judge really has to look at it as being like, she's relatively young, early 30s when this happened. So she's got 3 kids out there, but her kids want nothing to do with her. I really think that if her kids really ask for mom to be able to get out someday so they can have a normal life with her when she's 66 or 70, what have you, that the judge probably would have granted that. But the thing is, when the kids are scared of her and she's so calculatingly evil, and just for money, she's willing to kill for money, for a bigger, fancier house, when she was living totally living super wealthy compared to most people in America, as well as most people in the world, especially. So, but that wasn't good enough for her. She wanted to be at the top of the food chain. So I think the judge had no choice. And the judge isn't going to want to have this hanging over his head. Like, what? You're the one that let her be able to get something less in life without parole. So that's why I thought, especially when you heard the 2 sisters of Eric testify as well, as to what she did to put this family through a living hell, literally a living hell. Sorry, you don't get that kind of break. So they can ask for a new trial. I don't see anything on appeal that could bust the case, like we had in the Murdo case. Like I've talked about the Charlie Adelson case, I think we have a chance of that being busted on appeal for a different reason. We had jury tampering of the clerk of court for the Murdo case, and we have conflict of interest issue. So both those are constitutional issues that are going to be argued by the defense, and was successful by the Murdo defense team, his appellate defense team. So I'm going to talk about that, not tonight. We saw the announcement come out today, the actual verdict. I've not seen that yet, so I'm going to cover that this week still. So and talk about how I take that ruling by the court, the opinion by the Supreme Court of South Carolina. So for right now, this is it. We'll hear about the appeal process for Kouri later, but I don't see her having any chance of having anything tossed out. This is a rock solid case. Evidence is sufficient to withstand any attacks on appeal. So very good judge, and it's good to see this play out the way we expected. You know what? All the naysayers that said she was innocent, this family's nasty, despicable, whatever they said about the Richins, I would see some of those over as the case was going on. You know what? Where are they all now? Did they ever come out and say, "Hey, you know what? I was wrong. I was wrong about that"? Very rarely, rarely. They just want to be contrarians to justice, it seems like. So, in any event, we'll go ahead and close it for now. Yes, in honor of Eric, and what a wonderful father he was for his 3 boys. But that'll have a lasting impact on him. So his goodness that he did to his boys, the wonderful father he was to the boys, will not be in vain. Okay, and the family, the rest of the Richins, are going to be around to make sure that happens. So this tragedy could have easily been avoided. Kouri, when are you gonna wake up? When are you gonna wake up? So thanks for joining this quest and search for justice on this case. Glad justice was done for Eric, and it will stay that way. It will not be busted on appeal. So, and yet, we have here again another amazing father. His life is tragically ended. Unbelievable. It's happening so much nowadays in America. It's just unbelievable. So, with that, I'm going to go ahead and close off for tonight. Y'all be safe, take care, and I'll be back on when appropriate case and situation happens for a trial, that is, in the near future, hopefully. Otherwise, I do plan on being back this week here one of the upcoming nights to cover the Murdo Supreme Court opinion from South Carolina. So with that, y'all, take care, have a good night, and thank you for supporting justice. Appreciate y'all. Take care. Good night.